Tata, thereafter. Abhipadya, attacking. Abhyahanat, struck. Mahasura, is a great demon. Hiranyakasipu, Rusa, with anger. Nrsimham, Lord Nrsimhadev. Gadaya, by his club. Uruvegaya, moving with great force. Tam, him, Hiranyakasipu. Vikramantam, showing his prowess. Sagadam, with his club. Gada, Daraha, Lord Nrsimhadev, who also holds a club in his hand. Maha Urugam, a great snake. Tarksha Sutta, Garuda, the son of Tarksha. Yata, just as. Agrahit, captured. Tato bipadyahanam mahasuro rusha nishringa gadayoru vegaya tam vikramantam sagadam gadadaro mahoragam tarksha suto yatagrahit. Thereafter, the great demon Hiranyakasipu, who was extremely angry, swiftly attacked Nrsimhadev with his club and began to beat him. Lord Nrsimhadev, however, captured the great demon along with his club, just as Garuda might capture a great snake. Text 26. Satasya hasto kalalitas tadasuro vikridato yadvat ahir garut mataha asadvam manyantam hrityau kashomara ghanach Chadabharata Sarvadishnapaha. Translation. O King Yudhisthira, O great son of Bharata, when Nrsimhadev gave Hiranyakasipu a chance to slip from his hand, just as Garuda sometimes plays with a snake and lets it slip from his mouth, the demigods who had lost their abodes and who were hiding behind the clouds for fear of the demon did not consider that incident very good. Indeed, they were perturbed. In Prabhupada's purport. When Hiranyakasipu was in the process of being killed by Lord Nrsimhadev, the Lord gave the demon a chance to slip from his clutches. This incident was not very much appreciated by the demigods, for they were greatly afraid of Hiranyakasipu. They knew that if somehow or other Hiranyakasipu escaped from Lord Nrsimhadev's hands and saw that the demigods were looking forward to his death with great pleasure, he would take great revenge upon them. Therefore, they were very much afraid. So, yesterday we were explaining this is all about how Krishna reciprocates with us according to our particular way of approaching him. Egatam mam prapajante tam stataiva bhajamiham. So, Hiranyakasipu's only mode of approaching the Lord was in anger, envy. And so, if he wouldn't approach any other way, Krishna is so kind that he reciprocated with that. Right? And by this, Lord Hiranyakasipu became purified. So today is just describing the pastimes. I think it was one time Makanlal Prabhu told me that he asked Srila Prabhupada, he said, Srila Prabhupada, do the demigods know that Krishna is God? And Srila Prabhupada looked at him and said, the demigods are like you. They are knowing, but they are not always liking. Right? Yeah. So the same way, the demigods, they're sakam devotees, right? They have their desires. Someone told me that usually even Yamaraj is after the post, the position like that, the honor, prestige, So it's very subtle, these different attachments, up to Maharloka, Janaloka, Brahmaloka. And the demigods, whenever they have, they have such great power in respect to us. Like in our body, we have control over the whole thing. There are thousands and thousands, I guess millions. There's millions of living entities in all the different cells who have the, they're alive, but they have no choice where they're going. Prabhupada gives the example like a 747. There's like 450 people on the airplane, but one guy is deciding wherever he's going to go. One devotee, Tanu Krishna. You know him at all? He's from Argentina. He's a 747 pilot. He's a Hare Krishna. Yeah. But he is completely predictable, just like a machine. They have all these psychological tests for these guys over and over again, so they know, okay, this guy is going to react. So even though he's a devotee, it's just like he's totally like, I'm a devotee. I chant Hare Krishna. That's I think very calm. So he told me different stories. So one time there was one pilot for Argentinian Airlines. He was bringing the 747 back, from Madrid back to Buenos Aires with all the 500 passengers. And it was his very last flight. So he thought they couldn't fire him, so he thought he'd have a little fun. So it's supposed to land like this, So instead he went like this, and came in like that. When the 747s were produced in Seattle, they finished them off like that. And one time Prabhupada, he's talking very nicely about 747, so nice, big airplane, Wow. Krishna must be something. If Prabhupada appreciates the 747, then Krishna must be really incredible, So anyway, when it took off, when they were bringing it out, to show it off before they put it into operation, there was an air show in Seattle, and they had different airplanes and things going on. That was the finale of the whole thing. Was the 747 was going to take off and fly around Seattle. So on all the bridges, people just stopped driving their cars and all parked and got out and watching this thing. And they calculated that if it went around on its stomach, if it did a full loop, if it did a full barrel roll, 360-degree thing like that, if it did it on its stomach, the wings would snap off. But if it came over on its back, it'd be okay like that, So this is, depending on your mathematics to try this out. So they did it, and here by watching this thing go up, it was, it's unbelievably big, this is the whole thing like that. So the next day, the city council in Seattle met, and they passed a resolution that it's against the law for 747s to do barrel rolls over the city of Seattle. So on, But anyway, Tanu Krishna said that he said another pilot was on board. He was just a passenger, and this guy didn't tell him he was going to do this thing like this before he landed. So everybody's inside, and all of a sudden the whole plane just goes like this, it's down like that. Everybody's screaming, and the pilot's screaming. Other pilot. Then afterwards, the pilot announced, he said, "Well, I'm sorry if I gave you a little fright there, but my last thing, I want to do something special." All kind of thing. Oh, okay, thank you. Like that. So that's the material world. One living entity. All living entities are cooperating in the bodies. Some are, are fat cells. Some are nerve cells. Some are liver cells. Some are, reproductive cells. But one cell, whatever it is, somebody has all this authority over the whole thing. And so, same way, the demigods. There's 49 fire gods. So all the fire in the universe is just a part of their body. Somebody may think, so this is different than this. This is some different living entity here. He doesn't know that underneath the covering, it's all connected. So same way, the fire gods, there's fire in my stomach, there's fire in your stomach, there's fire in all the stomachs. But this is all the body of the same Devata. Right? 49 fire gods, and they have different, it's all part of their body. So when it's time for them to go to rest or go to sleep, then all the fire in the stomach, digestive potency is weak, right? Our digestive potency is weak on those days, at those times. So by astrology, you see how the things are working, and it's all just different people. The hands are symbolic representations of which demigod? Indra. Yeah. So therefore, when Indra is taking rest or doing something, then it's not a good time for manual abilities. You discover you're all thumbs. You just can't do things like that. So these demigods, they have tremendous power. I think I was calculating one time to To the semi-demigods, like the Kanaras, Apsaras, Gandharvas, we look like rats, you know. In one lifetime, you may see like 6 generations of rats come and go, right? And they all appreciate you. Somehow or other, this person feeds us and takes care of us. And my grandmother introduced me to this person. But, you know, their intelligence and their lifespan, their ability compared to us is like our relationship with the Gandharvas, the fairies. They live like 6 times as long, so many things like that. You know? And to the real demigods, we look like cockroaches, right? Live maybe 2 weeks or something, and you know. Yeah. And to Brahma, we look like atoms and molecules, so on. So, you know, you walk outside and you see some incredibly, you know, beautiful, vibrant young girl like that. But she has some staph infections on her body. You say, well, who are you? She says, well, I'm Bhumi, right? What are those staph infections? Oh, this one's Los Angeles. This is Denver. This is Dallas. Yeah. When you see them from the air like that, it looked like infections growing on the earth with this bad gas coming off and sucking the oil out and putting, you know, it's like the earth. But she, you know, she comes within our range, then we see this person, but it's, you know, Bhumi Devi. She's like, oh, incredible, you know, and Agni, you know. So, you know, you can play with a cockroach like that, right? And the demigods can relate to us. But you can begin to imagine then how powerful was Hiranyakasipu, right? Yeah. How did he get his powers? Yeah, tapasya, right? Yeah. Vishvamitra. He wanted to become a Brahmana. He was a Kshatriya. So he was doing so many austerities to fight with Vasishta. And he came in second class and came in third place, second place. He kept doing austerities until finally he was equal to Vasishta. And then he had conquered his anger too, because anger is the enemy of austerities, you know. So later on he wanted Ram and Lakshman to come and to fight with these demons, Maricha and others like that. And Dasrat was very anxiety about to let them go because they're just young men. They haven't really even been trained how to use weapons. And Vasishta told Dasrat, don't worry. Vishvamrita is tapasya in human form. You know, he was, you know, unbelievably powerful. By his austerities, for example, one king wanted to go to heaven, but he didn't have sufficient austerities. He wanted to have the same body, go to heaven in the same body. It was attached to his body. So he wanted to find someone to do a sacrifice to promote this. So he went to Vasishta, and Vasishta refused them. This is insulting to the gods, you know, take your body to heaven. So he went to Vasishta's sons, and they were angry at him because, you know, their father had refused them, and he's asking them to disobey their father. So they cursed him to become an ugly Shudra, you know. So and he was really upset because now he wasn't going to heaven and he lost his beautiful body, you know. So he went whining to Vishvamrita, and Vishvamrita always had this kind of like, you know, compassion on lower creatures. He said, okay, I'll help you, you know. So he was going to do a sacrifice, and he invited all the different rishis to come. And Vasishta didn't come, but his sons were afraid not to come because Vishvamrita might curse him or something. So they went there, and they're sitting there. And so then Vishvamrita does the sacrifice, and, you know, starts to offer the ghee into the fire to the demigods, and the demigods don't come. They refuse to accept the offering, you know. So then Vasishta's sons start like laughing, you know, you know, this is a sacrifice being performed by a former Kshatriya, you know, who's then the beneficiary is a Shudra, you know. The demigods won't even come, you know. So Vishvamrita becomes angry and he says, all right, if the demigods won't come, then just by my tapasya alone, let this man go to heaven. And he pours it into the fire like that. And everybody's shocked, you know, because this guy starts to go up, even without the help of the demigods, you know. And so then Vasishta's sons are shocked, you know. But then the guy starts going up, he's happy. But Indra sees him coming up and says, who's this? You know. So he like, you know, turns the guy around and sends him back down again, you know. And then Vasishta's sons start laughing even harder. And Vishnu is even more angry. He says, all right, even if the demigods are opposed to this, then by my power, let the guy, what is it, something, not to sin. So he offers the ghee, and then the guy stops halfway like that. He's hanging upside down in space like that. And I forgot something else happened, and then Vishnu was just, all right, just to hell with these demigods. I don't even need the demigods, so to speak of that. So he starts offering ghee into the fire, and then he starts to create an entire new universe, a new Indra, a new Agni, a new Vayu, a new Varuna on the southern horizon. And then everybody's going crazy, at this point. So at that point, the demigods come and try and make a deal with him and say, look, the guy's like this and that, and stuff. Nobody sweats in heaven, and on and on, So they make this agreement the guy can stay halfway like that, And so he's one of the evening stars or planets like that, you see, like that, halfway up there. That's how he got there. So by tapasya, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, tapasya is austerity is the motivational force for everything. Yagnanam japa yagnosmi. Among yagnas I am japa, like that. So Prabhupada has engaged us in these very, very powerful pious activities. But what for? There's three kinds of pious activities. One kind is to obtain sense gratification, to go to heaven, to enjoy these things. Another kind of austerity, tapasya, is to get liberation from this world. And the third kind is to advance in devotional service. Right? Prabhupada says all these activities in which you are engaged, circumambulating Tulsi, paying your obeisances, saying prayers, honoring prasadam, seeing the deity, smelling flowers. He said all these are punya kriti, little pious activity, like that. But he says they're accumulating, they're building up. And he says, and one day you will play with Krishna. Like that. He says it very kind of offhandedly, like, you will play with Krishna like that one day. So it's building up, right? And of course, some people may be acquiring them faster than others, right? Somebody. But everybody, you just hang around, right? Just stay here and hang around and keep on doing something, and it keeps on building up. And you start then acquiring them faster. You start accelerating, Even if you come to class, you don't understand anything, right? Shrimbhatan swakata Krishna punya shravana kirtana. It's pious activity. Like that. And if you want to trade it in, okay. If you doubt Krishna, I don't want to go back to Godhead. One devotee, what's his name now? He was a real serious guy working very hard. I think he was even in India in the beginning, doing so much austerity. Then finally he decided he didn't want to do this. He didn't want to be a devotee, But he was also telling Krishna, look, if you're honest, if you're an honest guy like they say you are, you'll pay me off for all the work I've done for you, like that. So he came back to San Francisco. So I met him. And he just finished his high school education, didn't have his college degree, and all these things, So funny, he went looking for a job, and he found out that the government's hiring people. Okay, the Department of Parks and Recreations, Department of the Interior, whatever it is, wanted somebody to be a night watchman on Alcatraz Island. and they're all alone, right? With all these empty prison cells and the gas chamber and electric chair and all these Al Capone's cell and it's all night alone there on this island. It's like perfect thing for some horror story, And so nobody wanted the job. So he took it. He'll become a devotee, Krishna will protect me, I guess. So his job was he got dropped off. A boat came at, I think it was 6 o'clock at night. It picked up all the staff who'd been there during the daytime for the tourists, and they took them away and they left him there. And he was there until the next morning. I think it was until like 7 o'clock in the morning or something. So he got overtime every day. And all he had to do was to call in twice on the radio or something and say everything was okay. And nothing ever happened in the 3 years that he was there, or 2 years. Except one time, one boat came and some tourists, they wanted to go see the place. He said, "We're closed. You've got to come back tomorrow." And they went away like that, So he enrolled in Berkeley, and he would go to the school during the daytime. He would come, get in the boat, go back out there, and there was nothing to do. There was absolutely no distractions whatsoever. So he'd do all his studying, his work like that, call the radio, go to sleep. wake up early, finish his studying, and go back in, So he was getting paid the whole time too, and he had almost, absolutely no expenses, And so he ended up, graduating, finishing off his 4-year degree in like 2.5 years with a pile of money and everything else. And he was feeling, Krishna's a fair guy. I wanted out, so Krishna said, tried to convince him not to do it, but, Another devotee, very similar, Kritakarma, remember him? Cuban devotee. He was in Vrindavan, and he was very good, a good manager, so he was like the general manager for the temple. But all these problems happened with these moral difficulties with, Bhavananda Prabhu and others, and then somehow or other he got blamed for the whole thing, although he was just like being caught up in the thing like that. So he felt really angry at Krishna, So he got his sister to send him some money, and he was flying back to America, and he on the airplane he proved to Krishna he was finished with him by ordering alcohol, some whiskey or something. He said it was terrible, but he forced himself to drink it, just to prove to Krishna, I'm finished with you. You're not a good guy, So he landed in San Francisco, and he went to some really super cheap hotel south of the Mission Street in San Francisco, south of Market on Mission Street. It's called the Tenderloin, and it's he can't even tell you what goes on there. It's like your hair will stand on end, your blood will go cold in your veins, your eyes will bulge from their sockets. I tell you the kind of things that go on down there. So that's all the only thing he could do was get some hotel there. So he checked in. He told me all this, and so he woke up and what? And he was jet lagged. So he got up early. It was just barely some light in the sky. He got up. Okay, I'll go out now. And he walked out. He said he came right to the door and he was thinking, okay, my new life starts right here. I'm going to engage in material life again, like that. I'm free from all these things. He said just then somebody in the opposite hotel on the 4th story screamed at the top of his lungs, "I can't take it anymore!" and jumped out of the window. Like that. He fell down and smashed himself, dead on the sidewalk right across the street in front of him. And he said it was just such a strong impression that Maya was saying, "Welcome to the fun house, Carlos." I'm not hiding anything. If you want to enjoy me, come and enjoy me. This is the kind of girl I am. You can enjoy me, but you're going to suffer. And he stood there right in the doorway for like 30 minutes until people came out and the ambulance came and they put him away and guys walked over to ask if he'd seen the thing and he said it was just like it was obvious he had this choice, right, to enter or not enter, and so finally he made this choice to enter. Entered in. And same thing too when he left Vrindavan, he told Krishna, hey, if you're an honest guy, I want to trade in my credits now, my green stamps. I want to trade them in and get something. So I want lots of money. So he was working there. He couldn't find a job, and he got a government job. And this time he was working in the San Francisco Mint. They make the coins. And the job is where you got to move these big bags of dimes, nickels, quarters around, and they give free hernia operations, right, like that, because so many people tear the this and that out. So anyway, one day he's there carrying all this money, and he suddenly, his intelligence, he says, "I wanted lots of money," like that. And he said, "Okay, Krishna, come on, that's not what I wanted. I got lots of money. Yeah, I know, but this is not what I wanted. I wanted." So same day, after work, he went to some bar and he was drinking something there. I don't know, strawberry brandy or something like that. And some guy is sitting next to him. They're talking. And this guy was a PhD in language, something like that. And he had 2 more PhDs, and they started a language school in San Francisco. And the other 2 guys were in Minnesota or something, like that. And the school wasn't, because they weren't administrators, so the school wasn't going very well. They had like about 20 students, And they're looking for a general manager. And especially they're teaching Spanish too, So Kritakarma is Cuban, and he's a general manager, so he convinced the guy that he could give him a try, So after 1 year, they had 400 students from 20 like that, And they were just dividing the money up, 1 for Bob, 1 for Bill, 3 for you, 3 for me. Other partners didn't care, they were just making money, So he was making so much money. And then he told me one Friday afternoon, he was walking out all dressed up, perfumed up, and he had $800 in cash on him. And he was already intoxicated on one substance, and he had 2 more intoxicants with him. And he was going to go off and enjoy in San Francisco. And San Francisco has a lot of places to enjoy, if you know what I mean. It's like incredible, you know. And then as he's going out there, he said his mind said to him, Krita, what is it? What do you want? I'm Carlos. Krita, you can't do it. I can't do what? You can't kill your soul. Like that. And he said he knew that's what he was trying to do. He was trying to kill his soul. He was trying to, forget his relationship with Krishna. Because once we come to the Madhyamadikari stage, surrender to Krishna, Diksha Kale Bhakti Kari Atma Samarpan, Se Kale Krishnatari Kari Atma Sam. At the time of Diksha, when the disciple surrenders to Krishna, at that moment Krishna takes him as good as himself. Right? So you may have a moral fall down, an ethical fall down, but it's practically speaking impossible to have a spiritual fall down. You may get involved in this, you may get involved in that, but Krishna will probably more or less forcibly drag you on to the conclusion. Once you say this, I want to go home. Say it again. I want to go home. One more time. I want to go home. Yeah. And you're in the mode of goodness because you've been following austerities. You know what you're saying. You're an adult. You signed the contract. And so at that point, Krishna, pretty much agrees. He'll drag you back to Godhead, get you back on the thing again. And you got to do the work, but he'll put you back on the track like that. So he'd done that, and so Krishna wasn't letting him go. So he told me at that point he knew he had to go back and apologize, to the devotees and Krishna. So he came back to the temple and started getting involved again. And he said his life is a whole interesting story of these things. So this is the demigods. They're devatas. They're sakam devotees, like us. They're knowing but not always liking. And sometimes they want to trade in their credits for this and that and this kind of enjoyment, But then Krishna, out of his mercy, creates all these problems for them. So they have to take shelter of him, right? And then they realize that's actually better. Probably since the beginning we want so many things from Krishna, this, that. But after a while we realize that Krishna is better than the things he's giving us, right? It's more fun just to associate with Krishna than it is to have, things for my body. And then all we want to do is just associate with Krishna. However it is, whatever way we can do it like that. So our material desires, okay, it's good. Approach Krishna for your material desires, But then, gradually you'll see. He takes away the material desires and leaves you his lotus feet. God, right? Prabhupada always quotes that, right? Krishna says, somebody who I favor, I take away everything he has. and then he is forced to surrender to me. Like that. Maybe you're experiencing that. No? In your own life. So this is, any comments at this point? Any questions?
You talk about the 747 jet. The double decker, the big jumbo jets, or is that something else?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were on one of those in 1975 going to Mayapur.
Yeah, you have all the devotees.
And they announced just before we got into Calcutta that this has never landed in Calcutta before. This is the first time. So the whole plane is filled with devotees. We were all chanting really loudly.
Yeah, and we don't know if the runway is long enough or not.
Exactly.
So we're hoping you'll drag your feet. Today, someone also asked me, today is Advaita Acharya's appearance day. I asked to talk real quickly about him. It just took a little longer. So there's Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas, the Supreme Personality of Godhood. If you go to the library and look it all up, Godhead comes from Godhood, womanhood, childhood, manhood. So Godhood means like being godly. So Supreme Personality of Godhood is Krishna or Lord Chaitanya. Then the Logos is, Jehovah, Jesus, Holy Spirit, Mary, St. Francis. Okay, same group. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas. Krishna, Balaram, Mahavishnu, Shiva, Kshirdakshai Vishnu, Avatar Tattva. And the other side then is Radharani and Narada Muni, like that. So Advaita Acharya is an expansion of Nityananda, and he's the Avatar Tattva, which doesn't actually exist And Mahavishnu exists. Yeah, Mahavishnu exists in the spiritual world, along with the unmanifested form of the material nature. And when he enters into it as Garbhodakshay Vishnu, then it starts to manifest. So Pradhan becomes Prakriti at that point. You know? So the Purusha avatars, Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and Kshirodakshay Vishnu, they're all, Advaita Acharya. Because sometimes it says Advaita Acharya is Lord Shiva, sometimes it says he's a Paramatma, it's all the same. It's the same person. Officer Smith, Bob Smith, Honey, Daddy, it's all the same person. So one time it describes in Chaitanya Bhagavat that Lord Chaitanya, Nimai, went with his friends to see the preparations for Guru Puja at Advaita Acharya's house. Who's Advaita Acharya's guru? Madhavendra Puri. What's his wife's name?
Shri, two wives, right?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, Shri and Sita.
Oh, Sita. Okay.
They were both given to him by the father, Nrsimhadev, I think is his name. And he found Sita in a lotus flower. There's like a little goddess. He was looking for a lotus flower to do his Nrsimha Puja.
Oh.
And his wife was pregnant. Mm-hmm. And he found this beautiful lotus glowing. And he looked inside and there was this beautiful little divine female. And so he brought her home and she expanded into a form of a baby around the same time his wife gave birth to Shri.
Okay.
So Shri Advaita Sita. There's two wives there, and they were given to Advaita Acharya when he brought them to the home to get them married to Advaita Acharya. Advaita Acharya's house turned into like Swetadweep, this huge, beautiful palace, and they were special.
So one time Nimai went there, and the rooms were full of cloth for preparations for the Guru Puja, and just big tanks of ghee and grains and kurkuma, and all these different kinds of things. There are betel nuts, And it says that Nimai thought to himself, he said, I think Advaita Acharya must be Lord Shiva. No human being could display opulence like this. So many pastimes. Krishna never leaves us. He can't. We can't be separated from him. We're given the example yesterday that I'm beating somebody with a stick, and the person says, why are you beating me? And I say, I'm not beating you. The stick is beating you. So Advaita is not dual. There's no duality between this world and Krishna. That's Maya. That's all there is to Maya. Is there's a duality, but there isn't. Every moment he's maintaining this table. He's everything we think, everything we do. All these elements are not different from him. So as the Paramatma, he's always with us. He's always Guru, always trying to help us to go to the next level like that. So you see that by the mercy of Advaita Acharya, then Krishna incarnates, right? So first is the appearance of Advaita Acharya, next is the appearance of Nityananda, and then there's the appearance of Lord Chaitanya. One festival after another. Avatar, Guru, and then Gauranga, like that. So there's a whole chapter, describing his glories and activities, and so many things, But I don't exactly know how he exists in Vaikuntha. But Mahavishnu exists in Vaikuntha, but above Mahavishnu are Lila avatars, like Nrsimhadev. The higher than worship of them is the worship of Shankarshan, and then Balaram, and like that. The higher, more and more intense worship. But they also all these different personalities want to participate in the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. And different pastimes, different activities, they want to participate, even though they're, maybe their home base is someplace else. So Advaita Acharya was always disturbed because Lord Chaitanya was always taking him as his master. Advaita, you're a great Brahman, you're my master, I'm your servant. So he was trying to figure out some way that, Lord Chaitanya would take the role of being his master rather than being his servant. So he thought for a long time and decided how to do it. He started teaching Mayavad philosophy. He started explaining Srimad Bhagavatam with a Mayavad explanation. We're all God. And so this news reached Nimai, and he was so angry. Someone was explaining Srimad Bhagavatam with a Mayavadi interpretation. So he went there, and went into Advaita Acharya's school and just burst right into his school and picked a stick up and was going to beat him like that. And Advaita Acharya was in ecstasy. He was screaming, And Sita Devi came out and was, tried to defend him and said, Nimai, don't beat this old Brahmin, you'll kill him, like that. And so then Advaita Acharya is laughing and roaring. He said, just see, he's my master. See, everybody? He's my master. Like that. And then Nimai figured out what had happened, that Advaita Acharya had tricked him. And so he dropped the stick down and walked out in frustration, disgust, like that. This guy tricked me, you tricked me. Like that. So many pastimes. Another time they were playing in the water in, Narendra Sarovar in Jagannath Puri. And with Lord Chaitanya, after the Rath Yatra. And then Lord Chaitanya called it Vaita. He said, Mahavishnu, or Sesha. So then Advaita Acharya became Sesha, and Lord Chaitanya was resting on his body. He was floating in the water on Advaita Acharya's body, floating around the lake like that. So he participates in so many pastimes. But especially his foremost quality is his mercy on recalling the conditioned souls. So today, a very special day to do austerities and try and get a little mercy from Advaita Acharya that will feel him with us all the time, and how he's simply directing us to Nimai. Jai. Advaita Acharya ki. Thank you all very much. Don't trade in your credits.